Welcome to What Gets Your Goat, episode 4. I am your host, Vincent Crowley. This is a show I like to call my YouTube Rage Room, where I have people on to talk about the things that annoy them in everyday life. Before we start, if you are easily offended and you don't have a sense of humor, you may want to turn this video off now because we plan on having a good time and not be politically correct. Guests are free to express their views and opinions the way they want. Then my guests are Dan from the YouTube channel Moonshine Talking and Paul from the channel Kai Hawaiian Death Metal. How are you guys doing today?
Good.
I'm doing good.
Thanks for having me.
Pleasure to have you guys.
Thanks for the invite.
Oh, absolutely. Let's start talking about your backgrounds and your channels. We can start with Dan.
Okay. Hey, again, thanks for having me. It's great meeting both of you guys in real time. You know, it's cool other than the email and all that stuff. Basically, I started a channel because the channel's name is, again, Moonshine Talkin. I did it New Year's Eve of this year. I started with doing pro wrestling content. I'm a former pro wrestler, trained back in the day in the late 90s with the gentleman who some may know is Dean Malenko, his name is. He's a WCW, WWE, ECW. Currently he's a producer with the company All Elite Wrestling. He does backstage stuff. I'm a huge metalhead, I love horror movies. So basically that was the idea behind the channel. I also, in my professional life, I have a fairly colorful job. So between the wrestling and the metal and all my other interests plus my job, a bunch of people said, because all the stories I tell people, that why don't you have a podcast? And I was like, I don't know, because I'm lazy and I don't like technology. So they're like, you should do a podcast. So anyhow, that's how it started, and and ever since then. I connected with Revik from Morden Red. I found his channel, started communicating with him. That led to meeting Eddie from Realms of Metal. Then that led to meeting Vincent, and pretty much off to the races. Started meeting Paul and Shredbeard and a bunch of the other guys who are in this little community of like metal YouTube that we've all put together here. You guys have all put together. I'm just kind of like the newbie. So yeah, that's pretty much that's my background.
About you, Paul.
Yeah, my channel all started because some guy that was an asshole said, I don't believe you play guitar. So my channel started with just me sitting in my dining room playing my guitar. Still do that. I don't really say much on it. And then I started recording music. A couple people like it. And that's pretty much it. I've done a couple reviews, but I don't really speak much on my channel or speak my mind or anything like that. I just let the guitar talk or the recorded songs talk for me.
Excellent.
And then I leave smart ass comments in your comment sections.
Of course. Of course. Don't you have a recording coming out?
I actually do have a CD out right now available. All the info for that is on my bio on my channel. Conquer King. It's 8 tracks. And I'm also working on the next one right now.
Excellent. Yeah, I heard the stuff sounds killer, man. Hope you do good, man.
I suck at the self-promotion thing. Yeah.
Right on.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that.
No problem. So, what gets you our goat? Well, let us begin. We'll start off with movie trailers that show us all the highlights and the key moments beforehand. That was something came to me recently. I always looking for new horror movies, usually, or movies in general, and always I don't mind giving a couple little things here and there, but when they add stuff that, you see something towards the end of a movie where someone's still alive, and when you watch the movie, you're kind of wondering if they're going to get killed, or every bit of violence is within that trailer and there's nothing more. That just pisses me off because it guides you in a different direction when you're watching the movie. What do you guys feel about that?
Paul, you want to go or you want me to jump in? Head.
No, go ahead.
Uh, what I As far as a lot of the trailers, because I was watching a few before we started doing this, because I wanted to get a little more abreast. Because a lot of the I don't watch a lot of horror movies or like the modern ones. I think like you and I had chatted about the First Omen. Like I really didn't like it, but I know you liked it. I saw the trailer, but I didn't think too much of it. Other than I think the thing with that one was what bugged me about that one was they had Charles Dance in the movie and he was in the trailer, and that's how I think they were sucking people in to go see the movie, because a lot of like the people who are into Game of Thrones who would know him from that and some other stuff, like, oh cool, he's in it. And then he's in it for yeah, I don't think I'm spoiling it at this point. He was in it for like 5 seconds at the beginning of the movie. So it's like they do stuff like that. The friggin' that I don't even know what sort of music they do when they put it that like auto-tuned, or because I just saw the trailer for the Crow that's they're rebooting, and they did
Right.
one of that. And they had one of Ozzy's newer songs, and they did one of those like remixed versions where it's like some sort of weird like that they do with just movies. It's always they're doing that. That's stupid. And um I saw the Alien Romulus. There's a new trailer for that just came out, and that's going to be coming out later in the year. And I don't know, they don't really give too much away, but I think sometimes with the modern movies, what they do is they do like a lot of too many reboots, too many member berries with the reboots. They're constantly just doing too many callbacks to the originals, and don't seem to really have like an original thought in their heads with a lot of the writers. I'd say probably like overall that's my big beef with modern movies is they're not original. Like I think the last really cool thing that I saw was the one that you and Eddie recommended. It was that Suitable Flesh. I got
Oh
that. I
yeah.
just happened to I saw it. It was at Walmart, and I had heard you guys talking about it, and that was cool. But that was also based on Lovecraft, and
Hmm.
Heather Graham was awesome in it, and Barbara Crampton. The dude I can't remember his name off the top of my head. He was really good in it. He's a character actor. The only thing I know him from was That Thing You Do. But he was really good. But other than that, I mean, I don't know, they're just not very original. And yeah, they kind of front load a lot of the movies within the trailer, because I don't think, by and large, I don't really think that they have a lot going on in the movies. So they try to get you with they throw all the key moments in there because they're like, oh, this is gonna be great. And then it's like, oh shit, that was the entire movie. This movie
Right.
stinks.
Exactly. Exactly. What do you think, Paul?
Yeah, I don't have a whole lot to add to that, except that I do hate the fact that a lot of times when you do see a trailer, it's like they get that lure out, they hook you in, and then all that shit that in the trailer made you want to go watch the movie was like 5.5 seconds. That's it.
Yeah.
5.5 seconds. The rest of the movie's garbage.
Right.
And that's basically all I got on that.
Right on.
I know
Uh
you say you don't. Sorry, Vince. I
no,
don't mean to
go ahead.
interrupt. Um, I know you don't watch a lot of movies, Paul, but and this is for you, Vince. Are there any movies that you are looking forward to that are coming out in the near future?
I I'm looking forward to the new Terrifier. I
Okay.
mean, uh, last one was great. It's kind of weird, but it still had the gore, it had the stuff, and again, they're showing you some brutal stuff, but they're not like everything, like the whole story. Which I know you need to give people something to make them want to see it, but I've seen trailers that are like 3 minutes long, and it's like just condensing the movie down. Give me a minute long trailer with the basic meat and potatoes, and I'll make my decision over that. Just I don't want to know the whole movie before I go see it.
Hmm. Yeah, I saw that. Another one I saw recently was Beetlejuice. They're doing a sequel to that, like however many years, decades later that they're doing that. And I don't know, there wasn't really much happening with that. Again, a lot of member berries. Like they did the thing where Michael Keaton's they film him from behind, and he's got the friggin' all the antlers and shit and whatever else, wings and crap out of his head. And they did the thing where Winona Ryder, they're putting the zipper on her mouth, which is like the callback to what they did in the first one and the original. And but then other than that, just killing off the dad in the movie. I think that was the most notable. They killed him off for the movie because of all of his predilections outside of movie making. But
Right.
yeah, I don't know. There's the Alien one I might go see. That looks a Terrifier. That's probably the most original horror series that anyone's come out with in a while. I think they're remake. I thought I heard this correctly. I think they're remaking The Thing. Are they doing that? Is something that I could be wrong on that, but
Well, they
I
did. They did another thing later on. So I don't know if they're doing it again. The Alien definitely something I love the whole Alien franchise, so I'm
yeah.
definitely looking forward to that.
Yeah, they're gonna do a couple more of those Predator movies because I guess they got enough attention from Prey, which was all right. I mean, it wasn't the worst one in the series, but it was decent enough.
Yeah, for sure.
It was entertaining. I know people like you get on what they refer to as nerd tube is what they call it, and you see all those dudes and the guys and gals, so they all scream and holler about how everything is this and that, and oh, everything's the girl boss thing and all that sort of stuff. And it's like, okay, that's fun, but I'm gonna watch about a minute of you screaming about that, and then I'll just, if I want to watch it, I'll go watch the movie and make up my own mind. I'm not gonna listen to you ranting and raving for super chat money about how this thing is, it's got too much of this or that or whatever. But anyhow,
Right on. Let's go to do you want to introduce the next one, Paul? The celebrity one?
Oh, I can't see the list. I'm sorry.
Okay. You said celebrities that think because they play make believe for our entertainment, they are automatically experts in all ways of life.
Oh yeah. So I hate that like these fuckers they play like a lawyer, a police officer, or like a doctor, some shit, or maybe some other bleeding heart thing, environmentalist. So now they just think that they're the authority on that. When all they did was just read somebody else's fucking words. And so now they think that it's their duty to inform us that we need to take certain precautions, to for safety for everybody else, or just shit like that. Like I got my flu shot. You should too.
Right.
It's like fuck you. Who are you?
And they've been
You fucking play make believe, which we did when we were like 8, running around thinking we were GI Joe guys beating each other up in the backyard. But you just get paid a lot for it, so that I guess makes you smarter than me or smarter than everybody else because you
been
played a lawyer. You can give legal advice, just shit like that.
yeah,
Fucking tool bags.
they've been doing that for years. They,
Oh yeah.
they tell you what to eat, who to vote for, how to act.
Mm-hmm.
It and like we're supposed to give a shit. That's like when they have those what the Oscars, the Golden Globes and bullshit. It's like they got to make their speech to push their fucking whatever on everybody else. It's like who the fuck are you anyways, It's
Yeah. Like, oh, you make millions of dollars and you're the smart one because on, everything because
Mhm.
you play dress up and you're like, I'm Brad Pitt. You shouldn't drink Coca-Cola.
Right.
Just shit like that. Or like, try out this new diet. And when in reality, what I did was I just went and puked in the toilet like 500 times so I could fit in this Marvel costume. But since I'm a celebrity,
Right.
you should be paleo.
Oh,
Or I
don't.
look like a superhero because I'm jacked to the gills on certainly omega-3 fatty acids and creatine. That's what I was doing to look like Thor and friggin' Spider-Man and whatnot.
Yeah.
You know what's funny about the whole with the celebrity thing is that I think a lot of people started turning on them in 2020 when all the shutdown shit started happening because you had all these people, they're scared, they don't know what's going on in the world, they're uncertain of their futures, their jobs are closing, all that stuff.
Mhm.
And then these jackasses are sitting there in their mansions and their condos and whatnot, singing Imagine to everybody. And it was like, you people are the most out of touch. You're oblivious. And like some of them are delusional. I was talking to my brother about this yesterday. Like, I know it's more current, more topical, but De Niro, like he went to the trial in New York and he's out there shrieking hair on fire about Donald Trump and all that sort of stuff. And he's been doing this for a few years. I mean, I don't know if he got snubbed at a cocktail party. I don't know if his girlfriend got taken by this guy at somewhere at some point. I don't know what happened there, but this friggin' guy really thinks like he's Jimmy Conway. Or he thinks he's Jake LaMotta and friggin' Ace. He really thinks he's a mobster. And it's like, dude, you play pretend. You get paid to pretend. Like you're not these things. It's like, and I don't. I just think people are seeing through all that, and they're really getting sick of. But like you were saying, this has been going on forever. I mean, even back in the day, back in the '60s, in the Vietnam era, where you had Jane Fonda going and she was doing all of her anti-war shit, and when they really kind of like at the advent of like the hippie revolution and all that sort of stuff is really when they started going they start really pushing all that and like more like Hollywood getting more into like the trying to push a social agenda and all that sort of stuff. I think is kind of where it really started, and then it kind of ramped up. And then I can think years ago, I don't know if you remember like Lady Gaga. She went to Arizona years ago when they were doing their immigration policy. They had something where they were trying to do something to shut down the border, and she was there like, I'm never gonna play there. And then next thing you know, she's playing there because probably friggin' Ticketmaster and her management firm were like, oh no, you're playing there. You're no. We spent a lot of money to get you. You're going to Arizona. So you just go up there, give your big speech and make us our money and bring daddy his money and then go about your business. But yeah, just stuff like that is
It's
like
it's also like I don't mind. They can have their own opinions, but when they're saying you need to do
Mhm.
this or that's a whole different thing. And not to mention, I think it's funny too to see you talked about like actors, you know, doing physical aesthetic like roles that they're obviously using enhanced drugs to get to these levels, and then they go on their shows and go, yeah, I just up my chicken calorie of protein and I stay away from carbs. And it's like, no, dude, you jack some steroids in you. That's exactly what you did. And don't make it to the average kid that just eating some broccoli heightens your testosterone and extra chicken helpings helps your protein levels.
No, they took flaxseed oil. That's what they did. That's
Yeah,
that's all they were using. It's just that and chicken and broccoli and eating really clean and lean and all that. No, it's
right.
But like the
even when I
best
was a
one is
kid,
they're
like
sitting
doing the
there
whole
telling
rest.
you,
Go
you
ahead,
don't do
Paul.
drugs. Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry about that. But I mean, they're like, don't do drugs. Drugs are bad. Meanwhile, it doesn't matter, male or female actor. They're doing blow off some chick's ass in a stripper fucking bathroom. So I mean, don't tell me that I can't do blow, but that's what you're doing. Or don't tell me that like, you gotta just work harder. Just work harder. I'm pretty sure being a fucking diesel mechanic's harder than fucking putting on a costume, reading somebody else's words, going, "Oh, look at the trees as they're blooming." Yeah, fuck you. Don't tell me how to vote. Don't tell me how to fucking that I need to work harder if I want this goal or that goal, when you no longer have to really do that because you made enough money to fund an entire small country.
Right. They definitely are pathetic.
I
So
think what
let's
we're
get
saying in general, Vince, is that we need to minimize the influence of theater kids in society as a whole. I think that's what we're saying here.
or them being and like you said, I think people are taking these things less serious, these people less serious because I mean, especially knowing that a lot of them suck some fucking dick to get to where they are. So
Exactly. But
that's
don't tell me to go support Guyana if you're not actually supporting Guyana or
mhm,
something, because that's
exactly.
what a lot of them do.
They jump on the topic that's heated at the time and they run with it to get the pat on the back and
Oh yeah, they get the pat on the back for going save the whales. Meanwhile, motherfuckers eating whale blubber.
yep, probably rolling around in it. This next one is a good one, and this is from Dan. And I can relate to this. The abysmal Florida heat.
Oh, well, right now we are currently sitting at 95 degrees in Florida. It's if any of you are not aware, I live in Florida. Vince used to live in Florida for quite some time. I believe you lived in the Tampa area.
Yes, I did.
Yeah, that's where I live currently. I've been down here probably about 24 years. I've been living here. Moved back here. I was here in 97, 98. That's when I was training to be a wrestler. And then I moved back to New York. I'm originally from New York, upstate, not the city. And then I moved back down here because it was just a little more it's just a little more comfortable, more familiar being down here. Like the scene down here was a little more familiar to me. I kind of I didn't like catch on in some of the other places, some of the other territories that I went to, which we didn't really have territories proper like back in the 80s, but the indie scene that I was a part of, that's kind of what I did. But yeah, this friggin' cocksucking heat is just, it's one of the few things that I dislike about Florida. I like living down here. I like it. The sun is cool, but going outside and having your friggin' face melting off is like it's brutal. It's just
I
it is.
when I lived there, I worked the late shift. I tried not to go. I was like the palest fucking Floridian you could imagine back then. They're like, "How do you not get sunburned?" I was like, "Well, if I go out in the sun, I'm getting sunburned, believe me." But I tried to make it where I didn't go out till later. I worked all night, got home in the morning, and if you don't have air conditioning in Florida, you might as well
Oof.
shoot yourself because
Yeah, yeah. And if you do any sort of driving or you do it, if you're a truck driver or a service personnel or anything like that, you're commuting and you don't have AC, that's like a fate worse than death half the time down here because you're gonna be sweating your balls off within 5 seconds of being outside. And I mean, there's worse. I guess this would be considered first world problems, even though heat is probably a universal thing since we live on the same planet. But yeah, it's rough. I mean, that and the mosquitoes down here are probably the mosquitoes, hurricanes, and the heat are probably the three things that I would say. Well, first of all, I would say most people, if you're thinking about moving to Florida, just stay home. We don't need any more of you, especially any of you from New York and California and there that sort. I'll be the Chamber of Commerce temporarily. Yeah, just stay home. Go back to your states, please. We don't need any more of you. You're already muddying up the roads and all that sort of stuff. But this heat is brutal. Have you been here, Paul? Have you in your travels? Have you gotten down to
Oh,
Florida at all?
I got drunk in Florida twice in the Tampa area in the
yeah,
90s. But like in Nebraska, um, I know it's not Florida heat, but we have been known to hit like 113.
Oh,
oh wow,
So, we got heat and humidity here. And then like in January, when in Florida you're probably like having nice moderate temperatures for your 10 minutes, it's like Arctic wasteland. which Vincent probably knows about from Ohio. So, we go from like 113 on the extreme side, not always like consistent, but like upper 90s with like 90% humidity in the summer, all the way down to like minus 40 ambient, not counting wind chill. But yeah, I can't speak much on the Florida. But
I
yeah, it sucks when you walk outside and you soak your pants with ball sweat within the first 5 seconds.
yes,
That's pretty universal.
swamp nuts, that's for sure. That's why I mean, I miss Florida, the scene. I miss friends there and stuff like that. But that was the main reason I moved up north. And what what sucks in Ohio is if you don't like the weather, wait, because it can snow one day and then be 80 degrees the next and then rain the next. I mean, it's so all over the place and it sucks. It sucks in a different way up here, but I definitely at least can have a winter up here, which Florida is not even close. So maybe you can wear a jacket 1 month out of the year or two.
Yeah, I think one time in the 70s they had a little flurry and then somebody went outside with a broom and cleared it off. I think that was pretty much the extent of a snowstorm down here.
Right.
I have never seen it rain iguanas in my life. Is it cool? I mean,
That's more of I can't say so much where I live. I think that's more of a South Florida thing where they have the frozen iguanas, but I've never personally seen that, but I've seen videos of that. But again, I think that's more of like a South Florida thing. It's weird. I mean, there's a lot of weird stuff that happens down here, but yeah, that's one of the weird phenomena that's more of a typical, that's like a Florida thing, like more of that Florida man shit as they say. But yeah,
Well,
never seen it. I can't really, I don't know. What about you? Have you ever seen the falling frozen iguanas?
I've seen it. I've just seen the videos. It's like I didn't know if that was real or not. It looked fucking crazy.
yeah, I mean, that's all I've ever seen. But at least, we're in Ohio and Nebraska. We can relate to one Florida thing, which is in July, June, and August. You're going to walk out your door. It's going to be 8 o'clock in the morning. It's already going to be like 98 degrees. And your ass crack turns into a rainforest.
And most likely you're gonna, at least in Tampa, if it's still that way, it will rain for a brief hour or so just to make it more muggy and humid during the day.
Yeah, it's like putting water onto a skillet. That's basically what the rain down here does half of the time. You just see the steam rising off of the asphalt, and you're like, okay, that did a lot of good. Thanks a lot. That's exactly what I needed. Yeah, usually around 3 o'clock, it's like the sprinklers go on, and then next thing you know, it rains for a half hour, and then it's even worse than it was an hour prior to that. It's like, okay, this is a wonderful phenomena that they didn't really they didn't they didn't tell me about any of this when they sold me on moving to Florida in the first place, but apparently this is one of these things down here. It's like
Right.
when I first moved to Florida, I'm getting a little sidetracked a little bit, but when I very first moved to Florida, they would tell you, oh, the Sunshine State. It's the Sunshine State. And the first day I was here, it rained. The very first day. I wound up in like a friggin' monsoon. And I said, what happened to all the sandy beaches and the beautiful women and the sunshine? This is like shit. What is this? And so anyhow, but I'll try not to get too derailed on my babbling.
Okay, next one topic is America's obsession with hip hop music in culture, film, TV, and advertising. Um, for the last seems like for decades now, everything is like pushed on you for hip hop. And I just don't get it. In the 80s when it came out, and it was kind of like a fun thing. You could see commercials and stuff once in a while. But now it's like any movie has a hip hop song in it. Commercials that have nothing to do with hip hop will have hip hop stuff. People trying to dress that way, live the thug life in the suburban areas. uh, what do you guys think about that? I mean, I just find it funny because metal has always been kind of like that weird thing that people try to push away for the most part, but people embrace, hip hop like it's the greatest thing since sliced bread.
I don't get it. I never will. I mean, I understand maybe it gets the booty shaking, but other than that, I don't get the lifestyle because I mean I just don't. I live in freaking a town of like 250,000 people, and we have no ghetto. There's no hood.
Mm.
So there's no real thug life here. There's people that think they're thug life, but I don't understand the embracing of the lifestyle of the thug life and wearing your pants around your knees.
I
I don't get it. I never will. And I don't understand using um a song about getting laid or selling drugs pertains to tennis shoes or ordering a sandwich. I don't get
right,
that.
right. Yeah,
But you're
that's
right. It's like everywhere. It's in the movie. It's on the TV show. The sneaker ad. It's used on football.
yeah,
It's just
everything.
everywhere.
Yeah, because it it would just be the same way if we went to the store and some like quirky person that doesn't listen to metal tried to have all the aesthetics and act like they were metal.
Mm-hmm.
We'd laugh at them. It's. I don't get that, especially since a lot of the people who embrace that have nothing to do with urban culture in the first place. It's like, obviously it comes from a real world, their roots and stuff. You can like the music, whatever music you want, but kind of like trying to be something you're not. That always like confused me, and I didn't know why they would try to push down the public because to me, rap should be kind of like metal. It should be just for those people that are really into it, like
Mm-hmm.
as in if the lifestyle and stuff. Um, Not for the pretenders that trying to act like they're all hard and stuff. And like you said, what does that have to do with selling a sandwich or stuff like that?
Yeah. And also like I don't get how like not to rag on the rural communities where I live, where they're mainly agriculture and stuff like that. A lot of farmers, a lot of ranchers in this area, probably similar to Ohio. But I don't know what a guy riding a combine, I don't know what a guy operating a combine knows about thug life and why you think you need to use, gangster rap to sell him a freaking like new iPad.
Yeah. It's funny. Some of the female rappers, they make the mentors calm nowadays. They say some shit that's like, but it's like mainstream. You wouldn't see El Duce on like, The Voice. It's
Yeah,
pretty trash.
exactly. Like some of them with their content of their lyrics, they make anything that Pungent Stench did seem like nothing. Or like
Exactly.
old Cannibal Corpse. It's like it's okay to talk about this, but yet been caught buttering is frowned upon. But yet, I mean, been caught buttering should be used to sell biscuits.
But
But you're
Pungent
not going to see
Stench,
that. But you're going to see like a rap video that has nothing to do with food, but it's all
Or
about like
cinnamon rolls.
life in the hood to sell like a slice of pizza.
right? But I guess that when you package it up with a bunch of like half-dressed women with their asses twerking, and I guess that's okay for public consumption.
That was like a Miller Lite commercial in the '80s with Bon Jovi.
Well, Vince, I think you have to blame my generation for the proliferation of hip hop culture in America. Because when I don't know how old Paul is. I'm 46. But I think that probably that's when hip hop really started exploding. And honestly, I like a little bit of 90s hip hop. I still listen to a little Wu-Tang Clan and Cypress Hill and stuff like that. But I think probably now what you're seeing is a lot of people who like were my generation, grew up in the same time and era that I did. Now they're all professional people. They're probably getting into marketing and stuff like that. And now that's why you're seeing so much of it, because that's familiar to them, like growing up on all that sort of stuff, like Tupac and Notorious B.I.G. and Ice Cube and all that sort of stuff. So I think that's probably why a lot of it's happening. I don't really like a lot of this modern rapping, like you were saying, like some of the, especially the female rappers, they're just like do whatever you want, that's fine, but it's just so trashy. And it's just like, I mean, like they had one of these, I don't know who she is, but she's some sort of rapper of some renown, this Sexy Red. And they had her on wrestling recently. They brought her in because somehow she did something on social media, and then they decided they were going to capitalize on that and bring her in. Didn't add one butt to a seat bringing this person in. But I'm watching clips of it, and I see her, and she's like she's out there and just like twerking and shit like that. And I was just like, okay, who is this, and why is she here? What purpose does she serve? And it was like, oh, she's Sexy Red. I have no idea who that is. And seeing as most of the demographic that you're appealing to probably has no idea who this is. Why are we bringing her out here? For what reason? Oh, we're trying to appeal to the youth. Like what youth? Who listens to this shit? It's just garbage and trashy. And then like it's awful. The kids I work with, they listen to some of this stuff, and the way they behave, I'm like, yeah, that's why your life is a mess, because you're living by you're like you're imitating their art, and their art is shit. So why do you think that your life's not going to be better behaving like they do? Like this, it's awful. But anyhow,
I just hate that I know names and characters in rap bands when I don't listen to the music because it's just pounded in your head from
Mhm.
the movies, the media, everything. And it's like, I even get caught sometimes, I'll be on YouTube and I watch the stuff that with that P. Diddy guy, or whatever, and all the crimes he's supposedly done and all that shit. It's like, man, why am I watching this? Because I don't even know. I think I remember one song when that guy was Puff Daddy that they used a Led Zeppelin song or something. And it's like,
Yeah, yeah.
and these guys are like multimillionaire, rich celebrities. They get, and it's like, why? It just boggles my brain seeing that shit.
I think they appealed to that sort of like it was almost like kind of like how like gangster movies appeal to people. Like it's one of those things where it gets romanticized in, especially in America, in our culture, because just the way our society was pretty much built. I mean, we're that outlaw nation,
Mm-hmm.
friggin', Jesse James and stuff like that. So I think it just kind of, as time went on, just kind of, the follow the bouncing ball. It just kind of, that's how things happen. But I mean, like when I was a kid, it was just that stuff was popular. I think it was because it appealed to suburban kids who didn't really, they weren't a part of that lifestyle. They didn't live that life, and they didn't know anything about it. And it was comfortable for them to like mimic it, but not actually have to live it, because if you were to actually live it, then you'd have to probably go commit crimes and probably go to jail and potentially get sodomized, and nobody wants that, and you don't want to get shivved or anything like that. But I mean, so, like a lot of kids who I grew up with, some of them kind of like veered off into that direction and kind of start living the life, and you see where they wind up, and between like the drugs and the violence and all that sort of stuff, they end up getting into that sort of thing. And But I think for the most part, it was just like a fantasy thing. Like it was something like a lot of kids I grew up, they were all just like, for lack of a better way to describe it, they were posers when it came to that sort of thing. They would just like all listen to their hip hop and sag their pants and speak the lingo, but not actually involved. You know, they're not really in with those crowds. You know, they might have one or two friends who lived in the hood or the ghetto or whatnot, and but that was about it. And that's as close as they would ever truly get to living that life. And again, like I say, I'll stick with I think all these people became professional people and now that's what they know. So now they're passing it on to the next generation. Like, unfortunately, there's not enough of us who were like metalheads who were, you know, if that were the case, maybe we'd have like friggin' Cannibal Corpse and like, you know, other
On a
than the
Subway
tracks.
commercial.
Yeah, yeah. Although it will happen. I do agree with J Dog on that. One day we are going to see that, is that we're going to have enough people that listen to Cannibal or a band of that size where we're eventually going to start hearing that at stadiums and hear it in a commercial. I'm sure at some point Hammer Smash Face will wind up on something. But,
We can hope.
yeah.
Well, this next one, this is Paul's, and the complete lack of respect for public restrooms.
See, with my job, I travel all over Nebraska, parts of South Dakota, Iowa, and Missouri a lot, and into Kansas, like every day. So, I stop at a lot of truck stops, a lot of gas stations, public restrooms. And it's like you walk in there and you see evidence that some guy just like fucking pissed all down the wall, maybe shit in the sink, shit next to the toilet, stuff like that. And it's like, we all got to use that. It's not, you're not just being an asshole to the people that clean it, but you're being an asshole to everybody that comes in after you. It's like, did you really have to piss all over the fucking sink counter?
Right.
Did you really have to shit on the floor? Crap like that, or just leave piss all over the floor. And, some of us are parents and have had to change our kids in public restrooms. And it's like, really? I want to take my kid into your fucking piss-filled, piss-covered, shit-covered fucking bathroom? I mean, not all of them are bad, but there's a lot of people that just, they don't care.
Yeah, there's a lot out there that's like disgusting. And I, I kind of make a rule. I do not use public restroom. Just take a piss. That's it. It's like fucking, I can wait but because I've seen some destroyed bathrooms just out there. In fact, you probably, Dan, only bathroom I can remember that was completely clean. There's this truck stop. I don't know if they have them out your way, Paul. They're called Bucky's.
No, we're not Bucky's.
They have
I've
like
never been to one, but I'm familiar with them.
and
Yes.
they have like 50 urinals, 50 fucking thrones, and they're all spotless and clean. And it's like, man, this is the promised land if you're on the road, that's for sure.
We get Wawa
Yeah,
down.
normally Love's is like that around here. Love's in a place called Sap Brothers. They're normally really clean. But I mean, there's some you walk in, you're like, what the fuck did I step in?
Yeah.
What the fuck is on my boot?
Yeah.
I don't want to know. But it's us. It's like we're fucking humans. Why are you treating it like swines?
I have a
I mean,
funny
you're screwing
story.
for everybody when you do that. And I don't know. That just really gets my goat. When you walk in the bathroom, you got to piss. You've been holding it for like the last 85 fucking miles. You go walking in there, you damn near slip on a fucking shit that's just sitting on the floor. And you're like, fuck, man. All I want to do is piss. I knew I was going to smell shit when I walked in because it's a fucking bathroom. But, why is it on the floor? Why is it smeared?
Oh.
And the little part at the end is like when you see the guy, he comes walking out of the stall. He's got his big fucking gulp in his hand, sets it on the counter. He doesn't wash his hands. No, he gets his hands a little wet and he wipes his mouth off, grabs his beverage, and walks the fuck out. Wash your fucking hands. I don't want to touch your dick or your asshole on that fucking door handle.
Oh, no doubt.
But yeah,
I have
it just really bothers me to walk in and see like a totally fucking destroyed bathroom at like a 7-Eleven. It's like everybody's got to pee.
Yeah, well, I know
be nice to the next guy.
I know I experienced a criminal action, and the person got well. You kind of have to pay the consequences. Um, I won't say the person's name. It was just somebody that played drums for Asheron at one point, and we were doing a show in Poland, and we went in the bathroom, and he's like, "I gotta take a shit," and he was notorious for destroying toilets. I'll just put it that way. He was one of those guys, and what he didn't know was it was one of those co male female bathrooms. So I'm like washing my hands, and he's in there just being obnoxious, going, "Oh, I'm destroying this. Oh, fuck." And it's the noises that were coming out were fucking harsh. And these two girls come walking in, they walk over, they put their makeup on, and he's over there in the stall just, "Oh, wait till you see this. Oh shit." And at this point, I'm just fucking crying, laughing because these girls are looking like horrified. And he opens up the bathroom or the stall, and there is shit everywhere. And I was like, these girls were like, right out the bathroom. And he looked and goes, "Oh shit, why are they in here?" I was like, "I don't know, but I'm sure everybody's gonna know your adventures after we get out of here." But that was definitely a person that was guilty of the crime and got what he deserved.
I have a similar
Oh, and
story.
like
Go
what?
ahead, Paul.
All right. Well, I also used to work in a lot of bars, so this was not just for the dudes. You fucking women, you're fucking nasty. I've been in the fucking bathroom to clean that motherfucker up after you fucking cows have been in there. You're fucking gross. Fucking, you don't need to leave your toilet paper and all that shit all over the fucking floor just because it's not your fucking house. You're nasty. They're, everybody's nasty. But I mean, keep it in the bowl. Keep it in the urinal. That's
That should
all
be a
I ask.
t-shirt. That should be a
Yeah,
t-shirt. Keep it in the
keep it in
bowl.
the bowl and keep it in the urinal.
Yeah.
I don't need to fucking slip on your turd when I'm just trying to take a piss.
We had this guy who came into my job one day, and he asked to use the bathroom, and it's a pretty innocuous thing. You're not really thinking too much of it. So he comes, he uses the bathroom. He's there with his friends. He finishes up, leaves the door open, which wasn't a big deal. It happens. And all of a sudden, like this smell just started wafting through our store. And I had these very like classy, kind of sophisticated ladies were walk around because where our bathroom is situated, it's in where we keep all like the women's apparel and stuff like that. So they're looking around, they're looking at all that stuff, and this smell overtakes the store. And I was like, what is that? And so I go and I see the bathroom doors open, and I go and I walk over, and it was like a crime scene. And I said, "What the fuck?" And I get my coworker. I was like, "Bro, come here. Look what this asshole just did." And there's shit, literal shit, floor, on the wall, over here, over there. It was everywhere but the toilet. And he's like, "Bleh, bleh, bleh." And I was like, "Bro, let me just." And the key to our bathroom was on a long ruler, and that was in the middle of this mess. So I said, "Hold on." First of all, because the guy walked out the door, he went to go hang out. He went to go hang in the van. And I said, "First of all, I'm bringing this asshole back in here, and he's going to clean this." So I go outside, and and "Hey, what's up?" I said, "Hey, man, come here. Come here real quick. I got to show you something." He walks back in with me. And I had already before I went outside, I had the mop, I had the bucket, I had all the cleaning stuff in there. And I said, "You see that? Now you see this? Go fix this right now." I said, "I'm not even playing with you. You need to clean this shit right now." So he starts, he takes the mop and bucket and he's just smearing everything everywhere. And he's got the ruler. And I said, oh, this motherfucker. And I said, look, get out of my store. Just get out. I don't care where you go. Just get out. And I went and found his friends. I said, look, you need to take your boy home because this dude just destroyed my bathroom. And the girlfriend looks at the guy and goes, see, I told you we shouldn't have brought him here. So it's like, yeah, you shouldn't have. So anyhow, long story short, my other coworker, he decides to start cleaning the place, and he's got shirts and crap over his head. He looks like a friggin' Shiite Muslim, just like trying to cover himself from all of this. And he's the whole time just, bleh, bleh. And I said, bro, do you want me to clean it? I have a pretty strong stomach, so this isn't gonna bother me. It's just something to do. Get done, get out of the way. He's like, no, I got it. I was late to work today. That's fine. And he just continues doing his. And so anyhow, fast forward to the end of the night. We've got this bathroom spotless, clean. We had incense burning, the whole thing. And we go to do our trash detail. And I hear him in the bathroom, and he opens up the cabinets underneath our sink, and I just hear him start cackling. And I was like, what are you laughing at? And he goes, I just found the underwear. So this idiot, and he not only did all that, he left his duty-filled underwear in the cabinets underneath our sink. And I was just like, this is like something out of Bellevue. Like, just like mental patients don't even do this. So it was just crazy. And we don't have a bathroom anymore. We stopped letting people use our restroom because we put a lot of money we had to get a new septic system and do all that. And we shut it down for a while, and then we reopened it. And around Halloween time, which is a big time for us, we use it as a substitute fitting room for the guys. And somebody flushed their underwear down our toilet, and it got caught in the grinders of the septic of the lift station, and it destroyed so we had to get a whole new thing. We had just spent tens of thousands of dollars getting the whole new septic system. And then we let somebody use it for a fitting room, and they flushed their underwear down the toilet like an asshole and destroy the thing. We had to spend more money to get it fixed. We're like, no, that's it. No more public restroom. You people cannot be trusted to just come in here and do your thing and not make a mess and make it look like a crime scene. So no more public restroom. That's it. Enough.
Right. We could go on for hours with this topic because there's some nasty motherfuckers out there.
Yeah, no doubt.
Well, we can kind of continue this with Dan. Yours was littering.
Yeah, I figured that was kind of a nice one to dovetail into because it's kind of along the same lines. It's one of those things where people are gross, they're inconsiderate, they don't, and like I say, a lot of my stories come from my job because I'm there so much. Like I was telling you, I work like at least 50 hours a week at my job because I'm a manager there, so I'm there quite a bit, and it's a small business, so somebody's got to make sure the place is running. So that usually falls on me because I've been there for 1,000 years. But so I see a lot of my human interaction comes from dealing with the public and interacting with people in a retail environment and all that sort of thing. So I see all sorts of like the same stuff anybody else does, but it kind of gets exacerbated because of the environment that I work in. It's kind of it's like I'll mention a little bit later, but you know, it's kind of a unique place to work. So it's just stuff like gum is probably my biggest pet peeve because I don't understand how in the hell you do not notice that the gum fell out of your mouth. Like, how did that happen? You just, like, you can't possibly tell me, because nobody likes stepping in gum. It's like stepping in dog shit. Nobody wants to do it. Everybody knows how awful it is. Yet still to this day, it's 2024, and we still have people that drop gum on the ground or they throw it on the ground. And we have to pick it up out of our carpets. I swear to you, I kid you not, twice this week. I went to go throw something out in our trash cans outside, and I stepped in gum on my way into work for the day. That's how my day started, was stepping in gum and having to come inside with my friggin' boots off and walk around in my stocking feet because some asshole it's like, I don't understand it. It's like, yeah, this is a sore subject for me because just people are just gross, and they're just like, They'll leave trash out. We've had to pick up diapers out of our parking lot. People just throw diapers there. My one buddy who doesn't work there anymore, he'd get into these heated arguments with people because he'd watch them, and they'd have the kid and they'd throw the diaper under the car, and you're like, what are you doing? It's a diaper. Nobody wants to pick that up. You barely want to touch it. So why are you leaving it for some stranger to pick up? And it's just stuff like it's just inconsiderate. And people and it makes if people don't take care of it, then it becomes a blight on just like wherever you are, wherever whether it's a business or your home or whatever it is. And it's just like, and I'm not some friggin' tree hugging hippie or anything like that, but I do like to look around and see like a clean lot, a clean landscape, freshly mowed lawn, trees and shit like that. You don't want to find like friggin' like one time I'm gonna go off a little bit here on this one. We had a bunch of homeless people that had camped out on our property, and they had their lawn chairs and they had the this and the that and the trash and all that. And I had to pick all this shit up, and I'm throwing it in gigantic trash bags and getting pissed by the minute. And then finally I got to the point, now I'm down to it, I'm raking stuff down. And eventually you come to the hypodermic needles. And it's like, do you understand how dangerous this? I know they don't care, but it's like it's stuff like that. And then people don't like, at least from a business perspective, then people don't want to go to your business because they think the place is just a shithole, and it's not, it's actually nice. It's just people are scumbags. But just stuff like that is what it just that's the whole thing with me with littering. But I thought it was a nice segue as far as I don't know, just people are inconsiderate, and they don't really they don't think when they do stuff like that, and it just drives me insane.
I find it funny that you'll see trash like several feet away from a trash can on the ground or a dumpster that's 6 feet away. Like they can't get off their lazy asses and throw it in the fucking trash or, and it's not being a tree hugging hippie. It's a matter of, do you want to live in an environment where you see fucking shit all over the fucking place and,
Exactly.
and
Yeah.
garbage? I mean, it's a simple remedy. Just throw the shit away and not be a lazy fuck. And yeah, I
Yeah,
agree with you 100% with that.
yeah, people are people, and unfortunately, people are idiots, and they just don't think like 5 seconds after the thing that they've done. Like I say, the gum thing is really that's the one that always fascinates me because you're chewing gum. Everybody knows what the act of chewing gum is. How did you not notice that the thing fell out of your mouth? You had to have you had to make a conscious effort to pull the thing out of your mouth and then throw it somewhere. Like even with me, like it drives me so insane that I'll take a piece of like a paper towel or a tissue or something, and I'll put the gum in there and then throw it in the trash can because I see it so much at my job. I've had to clean up so much gum off the carpet or step in it and all that sort of stuff. It's just one of those things where now it's like probably some sort of like psychosis that I've developed just by dealing with freaking idiots. But yeah, that's kind of my rant on that.
You, Paul.
Well, yeah, I agree with all that shit. Like, especially the trash can or the dumpster being like a couple feet away. Like, really? You couldn't fucking get up off your fat ass or stop watching a YouTube video long enough to go fucking throw a cup in a fucking trash can. It's right there. Or like, when you get fuel, you go into the gas station, you walk into the grocery store, all trash cans right there.
Mhm.
In those fucking plastic bags you always get from the grocery store that are now piling up under your fucking under your sink in your cupboard. Take one in your fucking car. Throw your trash in there.
Exactly.
So that way, you can keep watching your crap and not have to worry about walking to the trash can, I guess, because you're lazy and throw it away when you get home. But, it sucks when you take a kid to the park and, oh, there's fucking garbage all over the fucking place and he just wants to go on the swing. But trash, got to step over a McDonald's cup
People
because
are
some
fucking
300
nasty.
pound fucking sweaty bastard sitting there eating his fries and he just tossed the fucking McDonald's fry
Well,
container on the fucking ground. Probably a creepy bastard anyway, because he's sitting at a park littering. But yeah,
yeah,
the hell. I mean, it's not. You're taught that by your parents throughout your whole life living under their roof. If you get it out, put it away. You make a mess, clean it up. If you got trash, throw it away. And now we got recycling containers that make it like fucking stupid easy. If it's plastic, put it here. Paper here. I mean, they make it easy for you. It's right there.
Yeah,
It says trash.
Common
But
That's all
sense
I
is
got on
not too
that.
common.
I mean, you guys both pretty much covered it all.
yeah, well, probably got enough time for one more round, and this kind of goes with the last two. Graffiti and tagging on various things. I absolutely hate driving by and seeing, and we're not talking like artwork that someone does in a specific area on purpose. We're talking with the gang signs or dumb shit, and they're putting on like restaurant buildings or bus stops or trains and shit. It just makes everything look so shitty. um One thing I remember when I was in Brazil, you know I don't think I saw hardly any place that wasn't graffitied up. I mean, it was like nonstop tagging everywhere. And I don't know, I just think with tagging and spray painting, it just makes the area look like complete shit. What are you guys' view on that?
I totally agree. I think it's fucking garbage. You see train cars going by, clean train car, fucking gang tagger, like, some dude's name, whatever. And it's spray painted and all fucked up. Or you see a building downtown or a bridge. And the one that really baffles me is the grain elevator. How the hell did you get all the way up there and dangle on the side and tag that? Because there's a career for you, buddy. But yeah, you're just like making something that may already be dilapidated even worse. Or you're taking nice new areas and making them look like shit. And I just don't understand it, especially when it has zero artistic value.
Right.
I mean, like a mural, one thing, but like, I'm sorry, but Sea Dog was here, has no artistic value.
Right.
Or a fucking, and not just to pick on them, but also like I Love Satan just randomly on a train bridge doesn't belong there either.
Right.
So,
Exactly.
there's a place for that,
Mhm.
but not like on the supermarket wall when you're walking up.
Yeah, I
It's
I
like
agree. Any type of that stuff to me, I don't care if it's something I like. It just makes it look trashy and shit.
yeah, it's just more of that urban blight stuff that we were just discussing. It just you see it everywhere and it adds no value to anything. It just makes the area look like shit. It makes everything look a lot more, for lack of a better way of describing it, ghetto than it already might be. Like I live where I live is kind of in the hood, so I see a lot more of it. And it just drives me up a wall. Like we had a one time where I live. I live in an apartment complex, and one of the dumpsters, somebody had tagged the dumpster, and I saw it for about a week or so, and then I went to the property manager, and I was like, look, I don't really. I think maybe we should get rid of this because if you're trying to, you're trying to entice people to live here, I don't think they're going to want to live here if they come here and they see everything's got graffiti and gang shit and people are coming here tagging the place. Like that's not really something that you're not going to attract people to live here. They're going to think like it's a crime infested shithole and nobody's going to want to live here because they think they're going to get robbed or carjacked or something even worse. But you drive around like Paul was saying with you sit at a train crossing and you see the cars going by and next thing you know the whole thing is just tagged all to hell and it's like really that was really necessary. Or I drive by and you see like friggin' signs and whatnot or just random stuff everywhere and it's like it doesn't this just it makes the place look like trash and I think like most people don't want to live in trash. It's
There's a place here. I think it was called the Gates of Hell. It's this kind of like this concrete tunnel, and this and a kid died in it skateboarding, so it's supposed to be like haunted and stuff. But someone had painted like like above it and stuff, like the jaws were open, almost like that Candyman movie, the mural. And it looked like really fucking cool when they had it that way. And then there was like, there's typical tagging inside the thing, which whatever, it looks stupid, but someone actually started to just deface the painting or the art and just put a bunch of dumb shit on there and stuff. And I'm like going, I could have handled the mural of but getting into it just looks like a garbage dump. Then it's just ridiculous. And I don't know. And that's not just urban anymore. That's all over the place. And I don't know if
No, like you go to small towns now and you see that shit,
yeah.
and it's like, look, man, why'd you have to take this small ass town that's got like 2,500 people living here and make it look like a neighborhood from the fucking Warriors?
It's the hip hop. We're going back to the hip hop. That's what it is. It's
Yeah,
the blame.
You're tagging shit up, making it look like you're going through the baseball theories territory on your way back to fucking where you came from. I mean, well, I don't get the point of that.
Yeah, and it's
You know,
and the one thing
seriously.
is you can't, it's all the environment of where people live, because I've been in urban areas where there's like housing and there's nothing because they won't tolerate it. It's just a matter of, once you start tolerating the shit, it just runs amok and people do what the fuck they want. And it's slowly just going everywhere. And I just think it makes shit look disgusting and fucking like you're living in the slums.
Yeah, it does make it look like shit. And then, you got people that go out and they clean it up. They make it look all nice again, maybe repaint it. And then that same asshole or another asshole comes up, does the same thing all over again.
Yep. Okay, Paul,
And, it does
what
make
do
your
you
city look like shit. I mean, how are you supposed to take pride in where you live if it looks like ass?
exactly. Well, we're getting close to time. So what's your last one, Paul? You can pick one of your topics.
Oh, well, one of the ones, and it's short for me. I'm pretty sure it's short for everybody else too, but all those assholes that run around talking about cultural appropriation and culture vultures, like you're taking from these people. This is the United States where we live, all three of us in different parts. Go fuck yourself. It's a melting pot. We all borrowed from everybody. The original settlers, the Germans, the English, all that, Dutch when they first came over, then later the Italians. We all borrowed from each other. We borrowed from the indigenous that were here. They borrowed from us. And here it's just everybody has always been doing that. So like enjoy it. Enjoy the fact that you learned something new. Like, if you work with a Muslim guy, maybe there's something cool that he's done that you can borrow from, like food, shit like that. I mean, we're supposed to all get along in some way instead of dividing it. And when you use cultural appropriation as some bullshit excuse to separate everybody instead of celebrating everybody's commonalities, I mean, fuck. People from Maine weren't surfing.
Yeah.
They had to
Well,
learn it somewhere.
and
And,
bringing that up though reminds me of football teams. Now, mind you, I can understand if someone had a problem with the Redskins because that's that's an obvious thing that could get on people's nerves. And but like the Indians and stuff, they complain about that stuff, but you never hear them complain about the Vikings, or it's like these are characters that are supposed to be like strong, warriors and stuff. I think that's why they use it. They didn't do it to, make fun of anybody. And people get so sensitive about stuff, and
Hmm.
it just gets ridiculous. And if we're gonna get touchy about one group, you better get ready to get touchy about every group, because I have Irish in my background. I don't cry about like people wearing, green on St. Patrick's Day and shit like that. And it's stupid. And
Well,
again,
that's another thing. Like, it's only okay. It's okay for some. Like, you can have a guy from India making actual Italian style pizza, and that's okay. You can use the cartoonification of the gods from Hawaii to sell meat. You can take these little cartoon looking things that don't look anything like the original statues, and you sell meat, and that's all right. You sell a coconut bra, cool. That's funny. But if you wear a Native American headdress, you're an asshole.
right. And
That and or if you wear like a dress that's Asian, you're an asshole if you're not from that Asian culture.
right.
And that's my whole thing about it. Either make it all the way across the board, or better yet, fuck off and enjoy hanging out with your Cuban buddy and wearing the same fucking white pants that he's wearing down there in Florida while you're eating a sandwich. I mean, in this country, it was taught, and I remember the picture in the damn history books and all that, where it showed the melting pot, where it was a joining of everything. Wherever you came from, cool. You came from there, but now you're here. So what do you have to contribute, and what do I have to learn from you and you from me?
Right.
That's pretty much it.
Yep.
But now they're trying to, divide us all by going, you can't braid your hair.
Mhm.
What the fuck
I
is
won't
that?
truly feel included, Paul, until they make a sports team that's the whiskey drinking wife beaters, if I'm being honest here. So that's kind of what. But no, you know what's so weird about it, like you were saying, is like to me, because we, again, going back to my job, Halloween's a big time for us. We sell a lot of costumes around that time. It's one of the most hectic, busiest times of the year. And you'd see this shift over the past few years where you'd see people come in and you'd have certain stuff like it'd be like a Pocahontas outfit or something like that, or it'd be like a beer fest girl, and you'd see some of these kids, particularly the college age kids, they come in and they'd be, oh, cultural appropriation. And even some of my staff would go, oh, that's not good, don't we think? Because we had at one point we had like gigantic headdresses that we had brought in for people to wear if somebody wanted to buy it, and some of the people were like, oh, that's cultural appropriation. Look, nobody is lampooning you. Nobody is trying to make fun of you. If anything, they think that your culture and your history and your heritage is cool. They're trying to celebrate it. They're not trying to make fun of you. They're not like I'm not going to get your channel nuked, Vince. So I'm not going to say a couple of the things that I could use to kind of like jokingly make my point. But
Right.
it's just like stuff like that. Like no, they're not doing it to make fun of you. They're not doing it to like piss on your heritage. They're doing it because they think, oh, this is cool. And on top of that, I mean, I kind of look at it like more simplistically. Like I don't think that you're disrespecting somebody's race, creed, or heritage by having half of your ass hanging out because you're dressing like Pocahontas for the season. I don't think
Right.
that's really, I don't think anybody had that in mind. But that was kind of like with people who I'd argue with about that. That's kind of what I would try to tell them. It's like, no, people aren't like, if I saw, for example, like, because in wrestling, costuming and all, wearing the theatrical aspect of it, you wear, different gimmicks and whatnot. I'm sure you're probably familiar with the Great Muta. He
Mhm.
was a Japanese wrestler, and as he got older, as he got on in years, he would come up with these he'd come up with these elaborate entrances, and it usually involved some sort of outfit that he would wear. And even with him being Japanese, at one point he wore like he'd have a gigantic Native American headdress, and he'd wear like a bone skull and stuff like that, or he'd do other themes and things like that. It was like, this is fucking badass. This is cool. Look at this guy. And then he'd take everything in the face paint or the creepy mask and all that. So it's like I would always try to explain it to him that way. Like he wasn't doing that to make fun. He was trying to celebrate it. He thought it was cool. He thought it was badass. If anything, you should take it as a compliment. And I mean, and I think even like going back to the Redskin thing, like I don't even really think a lot of people were. It wasn't the people who they thought should be offended by the Redskin thing that were getting offended. They actually were like, no, that's fine. You know, we don't. No, we're fine with it. It's all of you, the what they call them, the nimbius. That's all. They're all the one, all the Karen types, all the busybodies who have nothing better to do but to just make everybody's lives miserable because they think I'm helping, and it's like, no, you're just making things worse.
I, yeah, it's like people are looking for something to bitch about. That was just an example. Like if they wanted to have something that might be touchy, I could see that. But I don't know if you saw it. It was the most hilarious shirt. I think it was the Redskins, but they did a logo and they put the Caucasians and they had this dorky looking white guy with blonde hair swoop like as the like would be the Indian logo. And I thought that was fucking hilarious. And I guess that was they were trying to prove a point. I was like, you proved the point that it's fucking funny that you just did that. I don't think anybody cares and got offended by it. So
Yeah, you just owned yourself is pretty
right,
much what there.
right.
Well, like one thing about it too is, you know, that Dan, you and I are within 2 years of the same age. I'm
Mhm.
48. Vincent, well, we know you're old, but thing is when we were all kids or younger, they had certain movies on that showed samurai. I'm pretty sure you two guys thought samurai were fucking awesome. These dudes riding around in armor, fucking swinging
Absolutely.
swords on horseback. And that possibly made you want to learn a little bit about the Japanese culture. You know, so like kids or people like that grew into adults of our ages, at some point you had a fucking samurai sword. Whether it was a toy or a fucking collector thing. You
Yeah.
know, so like how's that how's that stealing when it possibly fucking taught you to embrace or be educated on it?
Yeah,
You
or
know, like
dress.
or when you saw the Cowboys and Indian movies back in the the old ones like John Wayne and shit, it
Yeah,
kind of actually made you want to learn more about it. And now maybe you got a hobby of doing like fucking Native American beadwork,
yeah.
but you probably never would have had that hobby had it not been introduced to you. But I don't see how that's appropriating their culture when you're celebrating it by doing the beadwork or
Yeah.
paddling a fucking canoe from Maui to Hawaii
Right.
and doing it all in Hawaiian, but the whole group of people doing it's all fucking white guys. To me, that's celebration, not stealing,
Right. No, that's
and educating, not stealing.
mhm.
So if you keep slapping stupid names like appropriating on everything, then all you're doing is you're causing people to be like nervous to learn about a group of people maybe they wouldn't even fucking thought about learning about. Or maybe something's like just interesting, like, oh, Aztecs are cool. I want to learn about that. I kind of want to wear some of their shit.
And
But oh, I can't because somebody's gonna be like, oh no, you're stealing. You're horrible. You're a bastard. That's
and
my whole thing about the cultural appropriation. You're especially in our country, you're supposed to embrace all the different things that make us what we are,
and
and we all borrowed from everybody, and it's been happening since some guy that could only say, "Oh, fucking club some other dude," and he's like, "They got some cool shit. Let's borrow some of that shit," and it made them maybe better or worse, but we've been doing it the entire time that we've been walking upright.
right. Oh, I agree. I agree. And going back to knowing things and about rap that I wish I didn't know. I wonder if the Scandinavians got pissed when that Flavor Flav guy was wearing that plastic Viking helmet and acting all goofy. I didn't see any protest
Oh,
on that. So
We
yeah.
all
He's
should
wearing
have
a
been offended by that
cartoonification
one.
of their culture.
right.
So like if some guy in Sweden gets all pissed off at him, who's the asshole? The
Right.
guy from Sweden that got mad at Flavor Flav. It
Right.
all depends on who you talk to.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Well, guys, we are approaching that time, so we're going to have to cut this now. But I appreciate you guys coming on. Had a good time. Um, is there anything you guys want to plug before we call it quits?
Well,
Paul,
I guess the Conqueror King CD is available, and then of course you see my shirt for that Goat Metal show. Well,
Yes.
Barry's of course got more shirts of his own, and being the cool guy he is, he's the guy that actually handles all my merch. So I got a new shirt out. I got a couple other ones for Kai, and all the info's in the links on my bio on my channel.
Excellent.
But yeah, and he does merch for like Drucifer, Iron Casket, all that stuff.
Oh,
And
excellent.
I'm more comfortable promoting. Go check out Barry's shit because he's got all our merch handled. And yeah, I mean, get your Iron Casket shirt.
Right on. What about you, Dan?
well, no, I guess I'll start. Thanks again for having me. It was a pleasure. I enjoyed this. It was again great to kind of half-ass meet you and meet Paul. It's cool. I really enjoyed this. If anyone wants to check me out, just go to Moonshine Talkin. That's my channel name. I do metal reviews. I talk about metal, sometimes horror stuff, the pro wrestling stuff. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, I'm kind of still new to all this stuff, so I'm slowly but surely getting into it. But no, this is great. I had a really good time. I enjoyed getting to bounce some of my ideas and thoughts off of some other people. So it was cool. It was fun.
Oh, it was great
But
having you guys.
yeah,
And me to plug, you haven't gotten the recent Vincent Crowley Band album, Anthology of Horror, is out now on Hammerheart Records. We also have a album called Beyond Asheron out. Uh, Pick it up if you want to help support the music. And appreciate you all tuning in. Let us know in the comments what you thought about the topics. If you have any annoyances of your own, make sure to leave a comment and let us know, and maybe we'll
Vince, can I
bring
cut
that
you
up.
off real quick, if you don't
Yeah,
mind?
yeah,
I'm not saying this to kiss your ass, but that is one of the Anthology of Horror is one of the best albums I've heard this year. And I'm not just saying that because you're answering my emails or anything like that. No, that is a really, really good album. I've listened to it so many times. I mean, I'm sure everybody who watches your stuff is already familiar. Anyone watches mine or Paul's are already familiar with it. If you're not, go pick it up. It's phenomenal. It's definitely one of the best releases of the year. And Paul, you don't have to promote. I'll promote for you. Go buy Paul's Kai CD. I'm getting it soon, and yeah, just go get it. He's a phenomenal guitar player. I'm not a
Thank you.
bullshit artist. I'm not a salesperson. I'm telling you this because I believe it. Vince's stuff is top notch. Paul's stuff is top notch. Go check it out. It's phenomenal. But anyhow, that was all I got.
I appreciate it, man.
Oh, the Anthologies of Horror. It's the only death metal album that my wife has ever called art.
Wow.
She doesn't even say that about my shit. And she supports my shit because it's about the Hawaiian history and culture and mythology. She's like,
Right.
oh, that's good. She hears yours, she calls it art. And I don't think I'm gonna get the BC Rich for Liam
Uh,
on his birthday. It might be closer to Christmas.
oh yeah. Well, that's cool. It's in the works. And hello, Liam. It's always good to see you're doing good. I got to see some of your photos from your talent show. It was very cool. Um, Liam is Paul's son. He plays guitar. I mentioned him on a past episode, and it's always cool to see younger people getting into the metal music.
Absolutely.
He's learning 666 right now.
Oh, right on. I might have to hire him for an upcoming show. Okay, everybody. Well, thanks for tuning in. And until next time, stay brutal.